Holy crap, you're listening to the Witewolf's Den. I'm doing my intro here at the Wilson Harding Golf Course at the famous Griffith Park. Somebody told me that it's the third largest park in America. I don't believe them, and I haven't checked yet, but I thought that was fun to say right now. Tom Peters is our next guest. He's the CEO of Undersea Energy. They turn algae into biodiesel. Enjoy. Well, we've been kind of busy, both of us, and I mean, I don't know how. Are you on social media at all?
I post, but I don't scroll.
There you go. So yeah, I'm not. I don't get too crazy about like my personal life.
Yeah, I don't put any of mine on there.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I do. I try to put things that I think are cool. So last September, I got inducted into my high school Hall of Fame for football. not for like eating. But so this isn't the reason I proposed, but it was some kind of cool fact is that the football field that I used to play high school football on was named after Jen's grandpa. So that's kind of cool.
I think you told me that before.
Yeah. So then when I got inducted into the Hall of Fame, I thought that would be a good time to propose to her.
That's
so
cool.
I didn't do it like on the field in front of everybody because she's kind of shy anyways.
Yeah.
We went back to her dad's house, and her dad knew, I think it was going to go down like that. Her uncle got inducted as well, and I told her. Same day. And so I told her uncle, I said, hey, give a speech, and then I'll give a speech. And then in my speech, I'll propose, and there's like a video of it. I don't know if I put it online. Maybe Jen did. I did it in front of the whole family, and they set it up kind of well too, because I was like all nervous, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like this is happening," and like it kind of hit me because it's like it's a big deal, You did it once, I think. I don't know if you've done it again. I don't see you, so I don't even know if you're married again. But I was like, I was like, oh my god. And then I said, oh, I've known her. You know how long I've been with Jen?
I don't know the number. I know it's been long though.
It was 2009 is when I met her.
Oh, I thought maybe you guys went to high school together.
Well,
you knew her from way back when.
We know mutual people. She went to the sister high school of the all-boys school that I went to.
What is?
I went to St. Francis.
What is a sister high school?
Oh, Sacred Heart. It's actually where Meghan Markle went. No, wait. Fuck. I'm going to get blasted. She went to Immaculate Heart. Never mind. She went to Immaculate, but Sacred Heart is where somebody else famous went there. The girl who's carrying John Stamos' baby.
She's famous now.
I think she was sort of on the up and up when she started dating him, but I think she was either in Jen's sister's class or maybe a year younger than Jen.
Yeah, my high school, we had a sister school, and every now and when it's a Catholic school, I ask them, what was your sister school again? I don't remember. I used to know that stuff, but as time passes, it's kind of...
Where'd you go to do you remember where you went to high school?
Barely. Servite.
Oh, yeah. I remember we talked about it. Dude, you're going to have to forgive me. Like, I have, like, overuse of brain, Alzheimer's. So you went to Servite. I remember you guys were pretty good. Did you play football?
Mm-hmm.
They were really good.
In the beginning, I did, but then I had to transition fully to water polo. I had to make a decision eventually.
When did you make that decision in high school?
I didn't play my senior year of football.
Okay. And what year did you graduate?
2000.
So you're only a year older than me. You make me feel so unproductive. I'm 2001. Yeah, 2001. So did you play water polo all through high school?
Mm-hmm. I got a late start. Like a lot of guys already played as kids, like a lot of sports. Be the equivalent of, I guess, Little League. So I got into it kind of late and found out I was actually not bad at it. So I just stuck to it and worked out. I wish I started as a kid, which could have been good or bad, because I think we know a lot of guys. I think baseball's one, but especially football. Because every time I talked to a guy at USC that played Pop Warner, dude was always burned out on football. Every single time. Like, they were always, I hate football, I'm just doing it to finish out college. And you talk to them a little bit, like, oh yeah, I've been playing since I was 10. My parents made me go play in Pop Warner. They're always burned out. So maybe it has a blessing in disguise. They didn't start early.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start early playing football either. Back in my day, there was like only one little league like Pop Warner thing, and I was too big for it.
Oh, yeah, don't they have weight limits?
I think that it's different now, and I think they make it so that you can do. I couldn't do it back then. I could have done it, but I would have got my ass kicked because I would have had to play with older kids. I think it's just double-edged sword thing because I think it would have benefited me. I mean, I would have learned a lot more. But did you, even though I think I know the answer to this, did you end up getting a scholarship for water polo?
That's a funny story, actually. Academic scholarship, because now some of us that were involved with water polo, we look back on it like, why did they give us academic scholarships? Oh, well, probably because they were selling them. They were selling the athletic ones.
Wow. Because you went to which school?
USC, so I should sue them, saying you sold my scholarship. I want retribution. I want some refund for that.
Yeah, nice. So that would have, you went right out of high school, right? You didn't go to JUCO or anything.
No, right out of high school.
So that was in 2002. How long were you at USC? Did you do like a redshirt year, or did you do like you know what I mean, right? Like how many years of water polo did you play there?
2. I had to focus on academics. I didn't play every year.
But it was one of those years. I think I remember you saying it was they were the national champs. Did you get to play? Your first year were you playing?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I wasn't. I don't know if like football is different than other sports where it's like. Yeah, I don't think people can just go. It's really hard to go right into it and just head it, you know.
Yeah, and plus it was tough because there was Olympians on the team too. There's guys that were literally they had to leave. If you play in the Olympics that year, you have to sit. The college year, you can't play both. That you can play them simultaneously, but if it's wherever the year the Olympics was, you can't play your college year. You have to sit out a year. So there's a lot of fifth-year guys in water polo is common for that reason. So they'll play the academic, or they'll play the Olympic, which I don't blame them. I mean, if you can go play in the Olympics, it's a once in a lifetime when you're young. Go for it.
Isn't someone told me that water polo is basically trying to drown each other?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
That's pretty. I always thought I was a decent swimmer until I tried to play water polo, not in a shallow pool. Because it's like, when you look at those guys, it looks like they're basically standing in the water. It's crazy how, I was never, maybe there was one time where I think I could have been in close enough shape where I could have done that. But I don't know how you guys did it. How was the training like for that?
So our training, I don't know, maybe it was specific to the program, but it was, you had to swim. Coach was kind of his mentality was you have to, I'm not going to get you guys in shape. At this level, you need to show up in shape. So depending on whatever your class schedule was, you had to schedule. There was always training on the board. You can go schedule blocks. So if you had, not to say we didn't work out with the main coach. There was mandatory practice in the afternoons. Like you have to be there, schedule your classes around that. But they're almost like optional. So you had to swim so much a day. You were expected to. You had to go sign up for weightlifting. You had to go sign up so the swimming took about an hour and a half. The weightlifting, traditional, I guess an hour or so of weightlifting. And then we had to sign up for like leg only classes. You basically just treading water for an hour and a half, working on drills. They'd have up on a whiteboard and you have to do the drills. And there'd be a graduate coach watching you or working with you on this stuff. But a lot of it was, he said, if you can't get yourself in shape, it's going to show in the game. You're just not going to play. That was his way.
In some countries, that's torture that they use when they capture their the terrorists get you. What about since you said what did you study, like academic? So what was your business?
No, I wasn't a business major. I was undergrad. I was a double major. I was at economics and political science.
Did you want to be a politician or?
Actually, I wanted to be a lawyer at one point.
So I never really looked into political science when I was in college. So like when you're studying political science, like so you wanted to be a lawyer, but why did you study poli-sci?
I was looking at maybe being some kind of government lawyer at one time. We didn't have they had a criminology at USC, but they didn't have criminal justice, which a lot of them go. But actually, it was original plan was I was going to. There was this program that LAPD used to have, and they used to work in like USC, UCLA, and probably I'm sure some of the surrounding colleges had it, where you if you get accepted right out of college, you go to the LAPD Academy, and you go there. It's like 6 months. And then you work as a cop. So basically you take a year off, and it coincides with you have to obviously get hired by it, and you have to be accepted to a local law school. So you take that year off, you go to the academy, you work as an officer, and you work as an officer while you're going to law school. And the city will pay for it, and it's a fast track into the DA's office. So that was a program. I don't know if they still have that. They might. I think they should be a good way to get DAs, because they don't always get the highest quality off their own admittance. That there's so much more money on the defense side of it compared to them. And I thought about that, and I was pretty serious about it at one point. And then just talking to other DAs, like I got to meet with them multiple times, and literally every one of them was miserable. And even some of them told me, if you're not 100%, this is the life you want, don't do it. It's not fun. They said the pay's not great. You get death threats. You get all your family's under threat. I mean, it goes with the territory.
So you finished your degree though? Yeah. So if you moved away from that career path, what was your next move after USC?
For a while there, I didn't know what I did. Did some stuff with the Navy for a little while.
Like you joined the Navy?
Yeah, I was working with them.
I was literally going to ask you, because I remember when we were in the car, your Mercedes car, that you were listening to the American Sniper story, I think.
Oh yeah.
So I was
still listen to that before races.
So I was like, I've known a lot of folks that were in the military, and they seem to like just absorb like a lot of like the old war footage. I'll watch like Pat and the Bunch and like, or the American Sniper stuff. So I was like, I knew that you had to have some sort of military. We never really talked about it. So you were in the Navy. The Navy.
Fun fact. My plan was to be a Navy SEAL at one point. A fun fact on that: water polo players have the highest success rate for the SEALs. That's proven from. Obviously, athletes have a higher success rate than anybody for obvious reasons, but of the athletes, the water polo players succeed the most.
So what is the training? Because I think I've looked up that like every military group has a different name for their intro training, right? Am I wrong? There's like boot camp for one and basic training for another. So what is the Navy's intro training? I don't know. I'm just
for SEALs or for
just joining for once you first join, or like, you know what I mean? I just don't know. I don't.
Basic.
So there's basic for you, and then. So what is the process of getting to the SEALs? You have to like register or something?
Well, yeah, I was going the opposite route. So you have to be accepted. And you can't just go sign up and say, I want to be a SEAL. I'm like, okay, great. Here, go do it. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. Especially when I did was, still post 9/11 was pretty new. So they had an influx of guys joining it during that era. So the lines were longer. So that's why I never got my chance. Got hurt. So
what did you get? Your back or something?
Yeah, back injury.
I had a feeling it's
I just never got my chance. Just never fully came up. So
did you get discharged because of that? Yeah. Oh, are you sad about that, or are you kind of happy about that? It's like,
there's times I look back on it like it's more of a what if. Like, what if I didn't hurt my back? If I did go to SEAL training? And it's always gonna be the what if. Would I have made it?
You might have been the guy to kill Osama bin Laden.
That's one of the other ones. That's the other thought, because it would have been around that era. I mean, I would have still been of age and possibly still been in. Who knows? I look at that because it's always the what if. I mean, I don't necessarily call it a regret because I never got the chance to do it. But
so you never got sent to like active duty?
I did.
You did?
I did, but nothing like nothing too wild. It's always going to be the what if. What if I went to SEAL training? I'm always going to wonder, could I have passed it? Because it's a lot of mental. Not everyone passes. They have a high failure rate. So I'm always going to what if that. what if I did pass it, and what if I became one? A lot of different variables in there. I might have been killed by now, or I killed Bin Laden, or who knows.
I think the Marines and the Army are the first ones to get killed. I think that you would have been probably okay. I mean, I guess if you were a SEAL, there's
higher probability.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like you guys, the intel for the SEALs seems like infinitely better than like some of the other stuff. I mean, they seem to go in like knowing kind of what's going to happen. Obviously, there's variables, but so the way I'm going with this is like from what I know about you. So then after the SEALs, when did that certain East Coast school? when did Harvard come into play?
That's actually more recent.
Is that more recent?
So I did all that stuff. You know, it's like I was just thinking about this the other day. It's like, man, that's so long ago. You just start looking at it from that side, like, oh yeah, I went to USC, only because and it was brought up because I'm going to the game this Saturday when they play Stanford.
I brought up because you put that fucking Harvard shirt because Tom's a Boston Red Sox fan, so he's like, but do you kind of like the Dodgers too, or what?
I like the Dodgers.
Oh, okay. Well, at least I can. Forgive
I mean, I grew up here. So I always get asked, like, why aren't you an Angels fan? You grew up in Anaheim. So I was an Angels fan. I would love to be an Angels fan again as soon as the owner sells the team. I'm just not a fan of the guy for various reasons.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I mean, I wasn't a fan of
McCourt.
Oh my God! I don't even want to hear that guy's name. I feel like if you say it 2 more times, he can show up here. But I just, you're a Patriots fan, a Red Sox fan for sure, more than the Dodgers, right? Yeah. You're East Coast. But even though you grew up out here, when did that whole? How long have you been a Patriots fan? When did that happen?
Actually, I was a Patriots fan in high school because Drew Bledsoe was my favorite player. So when that gets brought up, oh, you're a front runner. Like, no, I actually liked them when they weren't very good, playing similar position as him and similar builds and
you were a quarterback,
backup. I was mostly a tight end back then.
Yeah, you're a big guy. I mean, you're I think it'd be kind of. I mean, you're not as big as you were when I first met you.
Yeah, a little smaller. So yeah, I did all that stuff in the distant past. I went back and got my master's, but Harvard wasn't until later, and it was not the traditional program. I am listed as an alumni, so even I admit I kind of took a backdoor in.
Hey, whatever.
Hey, he got me in. So I did the executive education program later, because I already had an MBA. I didn't need that. So I didn't go the traditional MBA business school route. I went to Harvard Business School, but not what you would say is the traditional. I went the executive. You've already got an MBA, get additional. So
when I met you, it was around 2015?
It was probably a little before
that. When was, I'm going to have to say, when was, I met you on that Bachelor party cruise, right? Was that when I met you?
No, you knew me before that. So I want to say it was like 11 or 12, because I think I met him in 10. Actually, no, I did meet him in 10 because that's when, I would have met him, I think, in 10.
Was that, I guess it's my show. I mean, I guess, you don't mind me saying companies you've worked at before, right? The trucking company. Yeah. Do you still work there?
No, I'm still involved with all the trucking stuff.
You're like a consultant?
Yeah, that's how I...
Are you hoping that they'll just forget about you and just keep paying you?
Yeah, they'll eventually just forget.
There was a guy...
I don't know, those corporations forget about people pretty fast.
No, I read about this guy on Reddit who... He said, like, what do you guys think I should do? He goes, I went to this company. It got bought out. They laid off a bunch of people. He ended up being hired as some sort of consultant, and he was making like 6 figures where he never got called. He never had to go in. He was just kind of traveling. And he was like saying, like, I don't know, man, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. And they're like, well, you're a consultant.
Yeah, write it out.
Yeah, just write
it out so the accounting department figures it out.
So that I met you, I remember, I just didn't know if I met you on that cruise or, I mean, everything's blending together. I'm like really worried about the future of my brain. But like, that bachelor party cruise was something. That's why I'm a little let down about this like weekend. It's only like 5 or 6 guys going. So I told my girl, I was like, I'm going to have like another one. Like after we're married, like a boys trip.
Like a real one?
Well, my whole plan last year, as soon as when I proposed, I was more excited about like I called. I think the first person I called for some reason was Greg, just because I don't know. He has some weird like lovable like he's a friar or something. And I said, we're going to Cuba. I was like, that's where we're going for the bachelor party. And everybody was all stoked. But then I was like, everybody got really busy. And then I didn't want to put burden. Some people can't afford to just drop everything and go to Cuba.
Yeah.
But I'd like to do something like that, like or some type of boys trip with the people that I couldn't get going like tomorrow. Because it was like the wedding just came up. It just started. Oh, my God, it's getting closer.
That stuff comes up fast. You I got 6 months. No big deal. But that'll come up quick.
Yeah. You, let's see. So Harvard, but was Harvard before I met you?
No, it was after. So
while you were at Schneider or whatever, you were going over and doing that shit?
Yeah, I was traveling. I actually got the okay from them to do it.
Fuck. Because, dude, I always saw, that was another, I'm going to put that.
Well, yeah, if you probably remember that, I was traveling out there all the time. Like at least once a month, I had to go out to Boston. I actually thought about moving there at one point, but it was not, again, it wasn't the traditional program, so it wasn't as demanding as that. So I was able to live in California still, and I just traveled back and forth, which is great because I did build up a lot of miles doing it. Yeah. Got some pretty cool trips since then, just based on miles. But yeah, it was a lot of work.
Did Schneider have an office out there?
No.
That sucks.
No.
But you could work remotely? Well, then that's like brilliant. I mean, if you could go to school like while you're working, like Jen did that. They actually paid for her school because she was studying library. She got a literature degree. She got a job at a law office in downtown. And then they had a program where if you were studying something that would help like the office or like your field there, she got a library science degree. They paid. She did it all online, and now she has a master's. Now she works at UCLA. And now anybody who's listening who's a psychopath could stalk her now. So it's sorry, Jen. But that's like really smart. I mean, for anybody listening, if you could get a job where a lot of people don't do that anymore, I think. But like if you can, there's still I think UCLA does. If you're doing something to further your education, UCLA will pay you. I think universities will if you work for a university. That's a nice way to get some sort of free education. You could talk. I mean, we don't have to get political. But what do you think about all? I mean, again, I'm not trying to be like, oh, this guy has a company, like, you know, but like, what do you think about that? Do you think there's some type of solution for education in this country? Do you think that we should do something like they do in like Europe or?
I don't know. There's not a simple 1-2 step solution. It's and it's funny you asked me that. Because it might have been the time we met. Because back in 2012, I ran for Board of Education in Orange County.
Mr. Poli-Sci.
Yeah, and I had no intention of doing it. I didn't even want to do it. It's been brought up to my attention like the previous 2 years before I did it. Like, I want you to give it a try. I want you to give it a try. You'd be good at it. Like, no, I just don't want to do that.
I came up with a solution, my opinion of a solution, that I think both sides could agree on. And I'm going to bring it up because I don't think I brought it up on here. And if I did, I'm going to bring it up again and again. So I think California passed something about like junior colleges. Are they free now? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I think wasn't Gavin Newsom just signed that. I think it's like not immediate, but it gets slowly implemented that the first 2 years can be free. Even though it's a tough one because even if they gave everyone a free 2 years, I was reading a rebuttal about that because I was curious. Like, to my knowledge, I mean, I haven't taken a junior college class since summer school for years, and I know populations changed and all that. So is everyone truly going to be able to get in? And maybe your person that's been a 2 year, their first 2 years, they're done in 2 years. Is that now going to take them 3 or 4 because they just can't get the classes in there because now it's just going to be so inundated? Being that at least in this area, Southern Cal, maybe they have. I don't think they've built any or added any new additional junior colleges to my knowledge. So
I know. That's all smart things.
Yeah. If we really, you're going to have everyone gets it for free now, and it sucks. Nobody should not go to college because they can't afford it. I agree. That's crappy. You should have the right to go, at least further yourself and better yourself. But
something I figured out about like politics or like any type of legislation or making things happen, it's going to take a long time. So like, something that we should all agree on is that no matter what we think of, it's going to take a minute. Except I have a way of like a transitionary period. If we do want to move towards like at least what we really should provide is education that will, I think, help the country or help, so like I think that they should add courses to junior colleges and community colleges. I went to junior college. I'm going to say I went to Mount Sac, and I had some sort of financial aid, which people who are poor can get also. And my classes were cheap. They were like $7. Move it closer. There you go. They were like $7. It's like $7 a unit or something. It was pretty cheap, And there's still people who can barely, if not, they can't afford that. So my proposal was we add classes like carpentry or plumbing, trades. Add some trades, mechanics, basic things that we all need more of, and anything else we could think of, some sort of at least introductory class to any type of sciences that we can add. Instead of saying free, which makes certain people lose their shit, we should say you're going to pay for it. But if you get a certain grade and you pass in like a certain time, like maybe it doesn't just have to be 2 years, maybe it's 3 years due to like, competitiveness or something. But say you pass in a certain amount of time, you get a rebate.
Oh, I agree. You got to give some people an incentive because I also think that goes along with what I said. You don't want to just slam the system immediately.
Slam the system
with
immediately.
Anyone and everyone who I think I want to go to college with. They're not really serious about it. So are they taking a seat away from a kid that's truly getting the grades and he's serious and he's going to get a 4.0 at the junior college and transfer to a UCLA and go on to be a doctor or something. But no, I also agree with the trade side. We need to up trades, especially now with I always think of this example. So it's a friend of the family. He's a mechanic. He went to school for it, and I don't know the exact school, but he's got all of his certifications to be an auto mechanic. And he said, and he owns his own shop. I think he's got a couple guys working for him. And he said, I did a lot less school, and it wasn't the ideal, probably glamorous route to go an auto mechanic. But he says, my earnings every year is a lot more than the average doctor.
Yeah, and that's just
if you're a good auto mechanic,
right?
You can make a lot of money.
Does he own his own business though?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing is like you learn in the field. Like like if you get that trade and you start working for somebody, you could learn how they did it. I mean, because business is all about doing the dirty paperwork that nobody feels like doing. That's really what business is. It's going and getting the insurance, risking capital. I mean, you're taking a risk. That's another thing. Like a lot of people, they talk shit about like businesses and they say, oh, these CEOs, they make all this money. And again, I'm not going to go on here and defend capitalism to the end or anything. And I'm not going to promote socialism. I have to say all this because everybody's going to get offended and I have to make disclaimers. But it takes, if it's so easy to be CEO, then why doesn't everybody just go do it? I mean, it's hard. And there's a lot of people from the ground up now. It's easy to be born into a lot of money and go. I mean, we could sort of be mad at that. I mean, but it's hard to go and risk everything for an idea, and that's why it's like a guy like your friend who he didn't just go out and start a business, right? I mean, he worked for a company. He actually worked for Mercedes for a little while. You gotta learn the ropes, Yeah. So yeah, but I think because I mean, going back to like the paying for school or whatever, and like what they're doing now, and like my rebate plan. How many people did you know who went to junior college for 7 years?
I know a lot. Not a lot, but I know some that went for quite a 7-year plan and never finished there. Yeah. I don't even think they had an AA. They just took classes, and probably they would have never admitted it, but they dropped them all the time, or they just you can drop them, or I think isn't there like a couple versions of dropping? You can drop early, you can drop withdrawals or something. If you
start a class and you get out of there super quick, you don't get a withdrawal. I mean, I think there was a thing where you could drop and it doesn't really count. And if you drop after a certain time, then you get a W, and then you could retake the class either once or twice. I don't remember that rule and how it's changed. There's a friend of mine, Thomas. He's a singer in Germany, like kind of a pop star guy. But he was studying, I think he wants to beat cancer. He wants to fight cancer, so he's studying like biology and chemistry and other weird things. So in Germany, they pay for that. And I think in a lot of European countries, they'll pay for school. I mean, it's a different country. There's a lot of people here. So that's like, again, the big argument. It's like, oh, there's so many people. I think that there should be some way that we work towards funding education like that, because we need stuff like that. We need people to fight cancer and things like that. And there might be people in the rough, some diamonds in the rough, you know?
No, I've always stood by that there's some kid out there that's going to do something great. He's just not given the right tools, or I guess it goes back to even kind of with the whole conversation right now. Some people win the lottery when they're born. They just won the genetic lottery. It's just how it is.
That's very true.
They just win the genetic lottery. I mean, there's some people that they just been dealt a very, very bad hand, and I know we both know plenty of people like that, just dealt a bad hand and never could get ahead of it, and it sucks.
I'll say for me, I mean, I'm not trying to get too political, but there's always this discussion of privilege, and I believe in it, and I'll tell you why. I grew up in a position where you could consider myself having a bad hand. My mom had me when she was a teenager. Like, my mom isn't even 50 yet. You can do the math. I'm 36. This is her year. I think this is going to be her 50th birthday. My dad was never around. Both my grandparents were sick at home at the same time. And both of them racked up like $17,000 in credit card debt each.
Back then was a lot more, probably double what it is.
But what sucks is they should have done way more. That was my buddy said, he goes, back in the day, because we were talking about it. There were some people, by the way, I'm going half off topic, but that bought houses with credit cards, and they would like keep the house and bankrupt. They're the ones who screwed it up for all that little scam, you know. But my buddy said that he racked up 50 G's in debt, and then he goes, and you know what? And I said, what, you feel bad about that? And he goes, fuck no. He goes, I should have done 150,000, because he could have back then. Now you can't do that. But they had 17K each, because they were shit with their money, you know. And when they died, like, it was me and my mom. We were in a really tough place, and the only reason why I did well is because I had a big support group. Like, my godmother she paid for my high school. She paid for all my private school. And private school helped me a lot. When I did college prep at St. Francis, I didn't have a college class that was any different than my high school classes. They were the same. It was like the same format. So I was like, oh, just keeping high school going again, you know. I had coaches. Football was my dad. I did karate. Karate was my dad. All the sports and stuff that I did, that was the backhand to my back of my head to make sure I stayed in line, you know. And so, you know, I don't know. So like you said, there's a lot of underprivileged people, and I you know me, and you've seen, like, right now I work in film. I work on a hit TV show on ABC. I write music. I directed. You don't know this because I haven't been blasting it yet because it's not done yet. I just directed my friend's music video. They got signed to Sony. They signed to Hero Records, which is a subsidiary of Sony. My friend, they were the number 3 on my podcast. I interviewed them at the Viper Room. They're called Secret Social Club. They said they were making a video. I was hanging out with them, and the singer, who's a friend of mine, since he was 16, and he goes, "Yeah, we're trying to find a guy to direct a video." And I was like, "Well, maybe I'm fine." And he goes. And then he introduces me. Yeah, this is our director. And I was like, what? And so I directed a music video. Things are looking up. Like, things are kind of happening. So I'm kind of happy. And it turned out cool. I'll show you some stuff later. It shouldn't be this way. Because I should have been broke. I should have been fucked up. I don't know what I would be doing. But I got lucky, too. I had really good support, you know.
So one of those, as I alluded to earlier, how I said I ran for school board, board education back then. One of the reasons that I finally just gave in and did it was a lot of pressure. Obviously, after I don't know if I was supposed to see him, but I saw all the school's finances and the district's finances and all that. And I started looking through it, and it's crazy. But
it is crazy.
kind of on that subject line, is one of the areas, and they were making budget cuts, and one of the areas where they were cutting was athletics. Athletics was being cut back quite a bit. And I showed them the statistics, and I can't believe none of them saw this. I said, I don't know, I got leaked your numbers, so whatever. If you know, I don't care. It's public information, my mind anyway.
It is.
But
it is public, so go
it's
ahead.
public information.
It is.
So, no, I presented it to the current board members, and I showed them, I said, you're going to cut education, but you have the stats over here that show people that are involved in athletics. So ultimately, they were losing money because the state cracked down on absentees. So if kids weren't coming to school, they're like, we're not paying you. Because, they get paid per student in a class, and they had a pretty high absentee rate in some of the schools. But they showed the statistic that the kids that were involved in athletics, arts included, but just specifically athletics, had like a 90-something% attendance rate. They were there. Like, so if you're getting your money cut by not having... by your attendance, why would you cut away from the group that's fueling a lot of your kids that are in the classrooms? And frankly, athletics is probably keeping a lot of... that's the only reason they're going to graduate. You talk to... and I got to talk to some of the kids from different schools. Just, hey, what do you like about high school? Oh, I like playing football, I like playing basketball, I like baseball, I like softball, whatever, men and women. And that was one of the statistics. I went back to the board member and said, this is why I'm running, because you guys are just cutting what's bringing your kids in. And
it's a way out. It's a way out for a lot of kids.
And
it's a way out for me. I got a football scholarship. I wouldn't have been able to pay for college.
And some of these kids, just looking at them, like, you kind of just look like, oh, I play football, and you're like, hey, I don't want to rain and pray, kid, but you're just not built for the next level. Don't stop doing it. You might prove everyone wrong.
You can go to JUCO, and by the way, even from there, it's not about D1. There's NAIA. There's D3. I was telling. So I helped out a year at Glendale High School, and there were some kids there that they weren't as good as we were at St. Francis when I was there. But you know what? They had a lot of heart, man, and they actually went from a 1-9 team to 6-4, and they lost getting to the playoffs by a coin toss. I talked to these kids that I saw talent in, and I was like, so what are you gonna do after high school? Which college are you gonna go to? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, you're fine, you're good, like, you should go try to play. He goes, college ain't for me. I said, well, I'm not talking about like college yet, like, go to JUCO. I said, dude, there were guys, and I don't know if I'm exposing some shit, but like, there were Samoans that failed everything. And they obviously, I'll say that they were incredible at football, but they still went D2, like, because even though their grades weren't there, they were able to go D2 and try again. Like, I was like, you can go NAIA, and you just have to recruit yourself. Like, but they don't believe in themselves, a lot of these kids, anyways. But at least it kept them out of trouble while they were in high school. They cut arts too. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I feel the same with the arts as the athletics, because it's another. If a kid's involved in band, if he's involved in something, essentially, I wasn't a fan of them cutting any extracurricular activities, because that's what's keeping them in there. I mean, your general kid is with the athletics just specific, but arts too. I mean, band's not an easy thing. You got to still practice, you still got to work hard. It teaches them hard work and time management, all real life skills that these kids needed.
When I was teaching at this shop in Glendale, it's called Montrose, and they're part of Glendale, the city. I don't know how familiar you are with Glendale.
I've heard of Montrose.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That's they shot Sons of Anarchy there. Just so you know, that's kind of a cool little fact. I barely seen it, but it's kind of a cool little fact. They do shoot a lot there. It's a really cute little town. I was talking to somebody, a shop owner, who is part of the board of Montrose, and he's political. We always get into these talks, but I'm very civil. I'm very patient, and even though we don't see eye to eye, we get along. We love talking about it. He was telling me the city of Glendale showed their budget, and they're in the red because of like pensions and things they have exorbitant salaries. Like someone I don't want to get this wrong, but one of the council members is making like $400,000 a year plus, and then they're gonna get 90% pension, which is I think that's kind of ridiculous. The reason that this was brought up is because Montrose right now has a wonderful parking system for patrons. There's free parking everywhere. There are parking meters in the street, and I believe it's 25 cents for 15 minutes, so $1 an hour. And the city is trying to come in and put a stop to all that free parking. They're trying to say it's going to be this much per hour. They're gonna double that there, and then there's all these parking lots, and they're gonna turn those into pay to park. And then the owner was like, just so you know, I brought these numbers in, and we bring in $7 million or whatever. We bring in these many millions of dollars a year in revenue. You're gonna screw, like, so you're gonna try to take from us because you're mismanaging your money, and we're paying our share. Like, you can't come in. And they were like, they actually had to, like, they were like, ah, shit, this guy did his research. This guy looked it up. Like, so there's like a whole battle going in because the Montrose is trying to fight because they were like, we want this parking. It's been like this forever. Everybody's fine. Everybody's paying their taxes. They're paying their shit. Get out of our, like, there's misappropriation everywhere.
Yeah, that's just government. It's never going to be it'll never be run like a business. And even when I ran, I had that mindset like we're going to run it like a business.
You didn't win, I assume.
No, I got in. No, some ways that's another blessing in disguise. Yeah. I got in literally the last day to register as a candidate. I signed up that day. I was going against two people that both had been doing it since I was in high school. So they were just, it was just the same people doing the same stuff over. Nothing ever changed. Yeah. I kind of went into it. I hate going into something knowing that you're probably going to lose, but that was the reality that I had a lot working against me. And I thought at the time, I was like, okay, if I break 10,000 votes, I'm happy. Cool. I got 18,000, so that was cool. I got almost double what I thought I would get.
Pretty good. I always and this was your first time running for any type of office. I feel like I would get like 200 votes because this, man, I don't know. I don't know how
it's tough because I was running in local. I beat him. I was always voted the winner of the when we actually got to debate him, because every time there's any type of local debate, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll go debate these guys. Put me up. I beat him every time. Mm-hmm. But that it's a local office. It's not, nobody sees it. Mm-hmm. So unless you're there, witnessed it firsthand, even with social media and that stuff being posted, it only hits so many people. And it's tough when you're running those local offices, because again, two people have been doing it since I was high school. They had a lot of name recognition, and people will always vote. Name recognition goes a long way in voting. Mm-hmm. That's how it is. Yeah. Especially in the locals, that's just how it is.
Yeah, there was when they were doing some local elections that I try to go. Those are the ones that really count to me, because these are the guys making all the legislation for shit you can control. You can't really control what the federal government does, really. So, this guy came up to my door, and he was an AP economics teacher at some high school, and he was talking to me about some things, and we saw eye to eye on some things, and I was like, "This is the guy." Like, he came to the door, and he was like very reasonable, and he didn't get like 10%. He got like shit of the votes. Like, he didn't get it. Nobody. I'm like, what are these? But people just vote party lines and they do their things. And I guess he didn't have the name or whatever, but he seems so damn reasonable. Anywho, let's get back. We had a nice little chat of like personal life and things like that. Very long, and that's good. We were catching up. The reason why I brought you in today too was because I follow you on whatever social media if I'm scrolling, which I don't do that often, and I've always been interested in. I mean, I would love to start a rad business. I'm trying to sneak in little places, but old Thomas Peters, as always, he's got his hands in a few interesting pots, and what I know him for specifically is renewable energy sources, specifically algae used as biofuel to create diesel for trucks. He was in the trucking industry, and again still is, but like more as a consultant rather than a full-time employee. So tell us about that industry.
So original idea came while I was in the industry. Probably a lot of us remember back when, probably 2010 era, when when fuel got extremely expensive. I think it was like $5 a gallon in most places, at least out here in California, which back then was extreme. $5 a gallon out here now, probably not quite as extreme as it once was. But back then that was pretty significant because I think prior to that it was like 2 something, 3 at most. So there was a lot of, I knew what biodiesel was. I, at the time, just thought it was that stuff they make from corn and use cooking oil. Willie Nelson does. That's all I thought it was.
Is that considered biodiesel? Yeah, because it's like it's anything that was like food or alive.
Yeah, because it's then it's renewable fuel at that point because it's from something else. It's not petroleum, which obviously is not renewable.
I knew someone that had a Volkswagen that they would go to fast food places and they'd get their grease or some crap and. Yeah, I remember that. So
yeah, you can. It's not hard to make. It's a lot like brewing beer. Actually, it's not difficult. You can do it in your backyard, and a lot of, not necessarily in California, but a lot of farmers do it. They have little mini systems that they use, and they make fuel to fuel their own tractors.
So was that those gas prices piqued your interest in that? Hey, we got to figure this out. That's what got you into renewable energy.
Yeah, it was. At that time, there was a lot of companies that were coming around trying to sell it because obviously, if there was a push with the government to get off of the fossil fuels and get into the renewable fuels at that time. And this stuff's been around since the 70s. It's not like brand new. It's not that I like, oh my God, I discovered this. Not even close.
I mean, it's almost impossible to discover anything nowadays.
Pretty hard. You can perfect things, but not discover.
Yeah, that's all I'm hoping for.
So companies would come around trying to sell it to other trucking companies, and I'd get wind of it, and I just had a general interest, like biodiesel. Okay, what is this stuff? And I started to meet with these companies and had just in general interest. Hey, can I come by your location? I'm just interested. So I don't even fully know what got me interested in it, to be honest, but it got me right away. So I went to see these guys, like, how are you making? Oh, we're doing used cooking oil. We're doing corn, or we're doing there's a bunch of different methods. There's some algae companies out there, and so I went to look at their method. Like, okay, diesel's let's just round up for sake, $5 a gallon right now. Okay, how much are you guys selling it to companies for? Oh, we can give it to you for $6 or $7 a gallon. Like, you know that these companies have boards, right? They're gonna have to go explain that. I mean, you got to be cost competitive with petroleum. And it's a very difficult thing to do. And so I started, researching the ways that they did it, and I just started doing just general internet searches to begin with. And that was about the same time I was going to USC for my master's. So it's just researching and being general interest in that. And I started coming to the conclusions like, there's something here. You guys don't have it because right now you're just following the lead. You're doing what everyone else does. You're going to have to think outside the box to do something on this. And it's not going to be easy. I mean, I think the other conclusion I came to is the only way these guys, and unfortunately a lot of them still only make money off of the government subsidies on it. That's it. Like, without naming them, I met with one of the biggest ones in the U.S., and they basically let me in that, well, currently the federal government, or Congress specifically, is holding up the rebates for this stuff because you get $1 a gallon tax credit on it, and the government hadn't signed a new budget, so that hadn't been come out yet. So they were essentially borrowing money. I said, well, what about your earnings from your general? Like, what earnings? We don't make money on this. We only make money on our per gallon, the tax credit. That's it. Like, wow. So that's how they were making money, and I knew that there has to be some way to make money on that, not just on government handouts. There's something there. Again, a lot of these companies they didn't have it. So I just started researching it, came to the conclusion, okay, algae has the highest oil yields of the feedstock that's used. Okay, there's something here. How do I do it? And I said, and I just happen to love the ocean, and actually the moment that I came that, okay, algae is the way was in, I forgot the name of the park. It's in San Pedro, up on the hill that overlooks the port of LA. And I don't even remember why I was up there. And I was sitting at this park just overlooking the port of LA,
Were you meditating?
No, I hadn't got into it yet.
Because I see those pictures.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, you were up there looking at the port.
No, so I was looking over the port, and I said, okay, and there was a really big push at the port of LA and Long Beach to have more of these renewable fuels. And I think at that time, actually, natural gas trucks were becoming more popular, even though they don't really exist in the industry anymore for a variety of reasons. So I looking to the over the port of LA, and I looked to the right, and that's when you got the open ocean. I said, okay, and really so the final, I guess where the epiphany, whatever you want to call it, came. Said, okay, if I was to do some, and you're gonna have to grow something, so it's gonna require a tremendous amount of land to do this. If you're gonna do that, if you try to go around these port areas and minimize your transportation, you're gonna spend millions of dollars before you ever even start. But if I look to my right, you got a wide open ocean, and who can charge you for that space? Nobody. And there's more ocean space than anything. That's where the idea came from. It's okay, I got to figure out how to make the ocean work, because there was other companies at the time, they were doing it out in the middle of the desert, which is 100, 200 miles away, whereas the open ocean's only 6 miles out, where you legally can start doing things without having to deal with the local municipalities. So
it's a little not as hot.
Yeah, a little bit, a little cooler.
Wait, so you can grow algae in big-ass tanks in the desert?
You can.
And it's not...
People do it.
The temperature is not too bad out there?
Like no, because algae like grows really well in places like Florida, where it's obviously very hot and humid. It actually likes that stuff. And there's thousands...
do you know the point, the hot point, where it's like...
there's so many different strands of it, too. Plus, a lot of strands are genetically modified now to where they can withstand that, and they grow faster with that.
So what was your process for, like... What was your process to, like, your first pod or ball, those the balls? What was that?
Yeah, so they first actually started as a tote.
You just went small.
It's like, I think that's what they call them, totes, or like a couple 100 gallons. You see like cooking oil delivered to restaurants.
Is it a similar thing to catching rainwater type stuff?
Yeah, like those, they're plastic bin looking things.
And you started in your garage?
Yeah, just did it in the garage and backyard. And first I did it in the garage and with lights. Like grow lights.
Is there? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, are you afraid to tell us your secret, the Colonel's recipe? Because I was like, so what? Do you just have water? What do you do? How do you just where do you get the algae at first? You just
the versions I use come from the University of Texas, so they're.
And you bought it?
Mm-hmm.
So how much does it cost to buy your first?
It's pretty cheap actually. The first I contacted did some internet searches. The University of Texas had a program. I think University of Texas and Iowa have pretty big programs.
So what do you get them by the gallon?
Yeah, and
what do you just pour like a little in each thing, and then they multiply? Huh?
Yeah, it grows. It'll more than double its size in 24 hours. So it grows extremely rapid. So just started with totes. First used a grow light until I realized how much your electricity bill goes up with grow lights in your house.
It's like Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I didn't want the police knocking on my door someday saying, well, your electric bill spiked. Why is that? So, like, okay, I'm going to have to move these to the outside. So I put them out in the backyard.
And then they just did their thing.
They did their thing, but then it came up with another problem, is that if you have grow lights, you got 24-hour light, where if you put it outside, you only got half the day with the sun. So that's where the idea, like, okay, thinking it's going to have to be something that's, if I'm going to do it out in the ocean, it's going to have to be enclosed. And you start running into multiple problems. As large as the ocean is, if you have something on the surface, some idiots, jet skiers, whatever, someone's going to run into it. It's inevitable. So that's where it really just came in the process of elimination. Okay, let me submerge them, because then they can be suspended, and there's a lot more space under the surface than there is just on top.
So are they like held down with anchors or something?
Yeah, they're tri-anchored. Then there was another piece I kind of learned through it, that with the sun and with just general oxygen, algae will grow fast. But if you have, and I started figuring out some of them, they grow it in tubes also, in reactors, and they do that version's mostly done for omega-3s, because that's a pretty big thing in the algae world. They make, I know it says fish oil, but it's not fish oil. It's algae. It's algae. It's algae. I didn't know that either. I thought it was like fish oil when they make
spoonful of algae gets the omega-3s. Is that how they make cod liver oil now, with algae?
Yeah, it's all
Bullshit.
algae. I thought the same. I thought, oh, maybe when they make fish sticks or something, the excess oil they sell off to this, but no, it's algae.
How many underground? What do you call these things? Pods?
Orcaspheres.
Orcaspheres. I actually wrote that down, and I should have known that. How many of these orcaspheres do you have?
Some of them have come back. There's 17 out there right now.
Oh, and you're selling biodiesel now?
Mm-hmm. The trucking companies.
So now your business is like you let your money sit in there, and then you get another orcasphere every so often. How often are you getting a new orcasphere?
Yeah, I'm trying to perfect them. So, when I was going with the piece earlier, that I figured out if I have them in the open air and part of the reason I came to the conclusion to submerge them was if you have them submerged, it's a controlled environment because now it's enclosed. But if you use general just oxygen as we breathe, they'll grow fast. But if you use CO2, they grow extremely fast because algae converts it to oxygen.
So where do you get the CO2?
Oh, you just buy it right now. There's another.
Wait, so do you have something hooked up to the orcasphere that is so?
It pumps CO2 into it. There's tanks on the bottom of them where it pumps CO2 through the bottom. It's kind of like.
And you don't need sunlight.
There's light inside.
Light.
There's light inside, so where I can't. You said, am I going to give away the whole thing?
Well, you don't have to give.
No.
Don't give everything away.
It's powered by an OTEC system.
Yeah.
That
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and that's the one that
I've had. Secret.
I've had offers on to buy that, which that's probably actually currently the most profitable thing of the whole company is that OTEC system that was developed. It's ocean thermal energy conversion. OTEC is not an unknown. It's a known process, but it's usually big, and they do it like it's pretty big in Hawaii. They use it for electricity, but I think I accidentally kind of figured out how to make it on a smaller level and just researching and trial and error, and it's enough to power one of these things, so it's self-sustaining. So that's incredible. So how do you harvest it? Put on some. So they're about 30-40 meters down because I don't want to. I keep them out of the shipping lanes, and I just don't want somebody to run into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you keep people from messing with your balls?
Yeah, they're pretty big, so they're hard to get to. Most people probably wouldn't realize. You don't even know that they're there.
I certainly wouldn't know. Maybe if I take my new drone out, that I've been right there. I got a new drone. It's pretty cool. I'll go search for your balls.
About 6 miles out. We're off Seal Beach.
Shit, that's like the limit. It goes like 5 miles, but that's if it's a clear signal. So I was going to say, so you go and harvest it manually then?
Yeah, it's a manual process at present time, which I'm trying to get away from because I value my hearing. And so at current state, I have to go down. We use a fishing vessel. I have trade fuel for services with them. And it's a pretty simple process for them because we're not going that far out, and it's not like searching for fish. I know where it's at. So I go down there, I hook it up, I raise it up to the top. We just pump the algae out into a tank, which being a fishing vessel, they have storage tanks where they hold the fish in the ice. Just pump it right into there. Then I leave about 10% of the content in.
So it could regrow.
Yeah, it'll just constantly regenerate itself. I pump the water back in, hook up the CO2s, make sure everything's functioning, and drop it right back down. It's a pretty quick turnaround, actually.
So how much algae do you get out of those harvests?
In gallons, when all's said and done, depending on the size of them, I get 7,000 gallons.
So that's per ball?
About on average.
And when you're going in that boat, you'll basically only be able to get one ball out, right?
Depending on the fishing vessel size and the size of the sphere that's out there.
And this is 7,000 gallons of raw algae. This is not, because you have to process it, right?
Oh, it's more than 7,000 gallons.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like,
when all's said and done, when it goes through the process, because it's not...
Because there's additives and things,
Yeah,
right?
There's additives, and then there's obviously you got to remove the oils from the solids. Because right now there's always an excess solids, which I just give to a company in Norco. I think they're from Norco, Corona.
So they
use it for animal feed. I just give it to them for free.
Yeah, that's nice of you.
Hey, they're
feeding. Do you do a tax write-off though?
I probably could, but I get tax write-offs. I max them all the time because of
your costs and all that.
Well,
shit, right?
yeah, and the We get the $1 per gallon.
And are you doing tax credits too?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why the hell not, right? You get entitled to them.
It's a REM number, so you got to keep track of what you're producing. I know there's a lot of fraud in it. Yeah. It's hard to sometimes. There's fraud in anytime there's a government money subsidies. There's fraud in it. It's inevitable.
I'm convinced. God, there's so many scams. Everything is a scam nowadays. So, what is the refining like? Who does that for you? Or do you have the?
I have the machinery for it. It's pretty.
You have a warehouse or something?
Mm-hmm. So a friend I made in the trucking industry had his own company, and he has a warehouse that's literally across the street from the main rail yards in LA. And we just bonded early and made a close friendship. And essentially, he always says, I probably one of the few people we met in the industry that never tried to screw him over. So that was always a good thing. And he doesn't use the whole warehouse, so there's actually a back portion of it. He lets me keep everything in there and convert it right there.
Brilliant.
It's not.
You get by with a little help from your friends.
Yeah, it's helped a lot because that's prime real estate for what I'm doing. Couldn't have planned that any better, but it's not hard to do. Like I said, people do it in their backyard. So essentially the systems are automated. They do a lot of it by themselves, and it's something you can buy. They're not cheap, but you can buy them. So it's, again, nothing I invented. I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel there.
How big is the footprint of this system that turns the algae into fuel?
Not much at all.
So did you bought a system, or did you have to kind of come up with it from scratch?
A system. I bought a starter system initially, and taught myself all the directions, watched a lot of YouTube videos to figure out how to do it. I think that system was like $1,500, so it was pretty, and you couldn't make much. But at least
you've added to it. Since.
That was the initial system. I still have it as a backup if I absolutely need them.
Is that dude? A while back there was a commercial that I saw, that not a commercial, but it was like more of like your teaser film. I don't know if you still have that or if that's on YouTube. So it was like a commercial where you said, "This is my trucking area," and then I don't know if there was some friend of yours directed it.
Oh,
or something.
Yeah, that was just a quick. We actually posted that to what group was that? Is it TechCrunch?
I saw an area where there were a bunch of trucks. Is that your buddy? And that's where you have your thing?
And the systems are right there. I think in the video it shows those systems. Is that
buddy using your fuel for those trucks? That's one of your clients right now. So
yeah, the beauty of it is I fuel him, and then just contacts I made with smaller trucking companies. Because of the location where it's at in the city of Commerce, I can call ahead, hey, I'm going to have, depending on the company, I'm going to have 1,000 gallons right now. And which seems like a lot, but one of those trucks takes over 100 each. Yeah. So I might only be filling 8 trucks. Because I hear that from people like, oh my God, you're making 2,000 gallons you're going to sell today? I'm like, break it down to how much one of those trucks works. It's really not much. I'm really not making a significant impact. Not yet. I mean, I know that I knew this going in, that this one was going to be a marathon. It's going to take a long time.
Well, the success is long term, no matter what.
This is not an overnight thing. This wasn't a quick turnaround where, hey, I'm going to make a lot of money and get out. This is not the case.
I remember it was like Calxir. What's your company?
Oh, that was set up as a research nonprofit.
Okay. What's your company called?
Undersea Energy.
So Undersea Energy for sure, and that's on Instagram.
Yeah.
And do you have a website?
Yeah.
UnderseaEnergy.com.
Undersea.energy.
Undersea.energy.
Domains exist now.
Oh, I need to get into that game, the domain game.
Yeah, there's a lot of money
Mark
into
Cuban.
Yeah, I'm dealing with that now. There's the other company I started more recently. The .com's available, but it's in auction for $30,000 right now. So yeah, there's a lot of money in that game.
How often do you go to these conferences? I've been seeing, because you go to like Undersea Energy. Is it just renewable energy conferences?
Yeah, it varies. I kind of toned some of them back. And some of them I just didn't. I went because I was invited and I wasn't doing too much.
You weren't meeting any like good contacts there?
I am. But the problem being still is a lot of them are just stuck in the old ways, and I unfortunately missed Mark Cuban at a conference. I saw him, but he wasn't there very long. I was hoping to get to talk to him, but
you don't want to do the Shark Tank thing.
Tried.
He did.
I did try.
What happened?
So I went to a open tryout in Vegas.
No way. Yeah.
And I talked to them, I presented to them, and it was kind of cool. I'm like, man, I might be a shoo-in for this because I had...
You mean they were there?
Damon John was there,
okay.
but I didn't get to talk to him, so I don't want to mislead there. Damon John,
okay.
Actually at the Shark Tank, Mark Cuban wasn't there. This was at another conference he was at. I missed him there. When I went to the Shark Tank tryout in Vegas, it was during CES.
Yeah.
And Damon John was there. I didn't get to talk to him. Saw him up close, but didn't actually sit down and talk to him about that. So that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So who I talked to was, I guess they were more like casting directors.
Yeah.
Because that's who you meet with first. Yeah. And I was talking to them, and they were really, I felt, pretty intrigued about it. And they've flat out told me, they said, this isn't generally what we bring on the show.
This is bullshit because they brought in a guy who was trying to sell llama shit to them.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, they one of the girls that was there.
Shit. I don't know, it was llamas or alpacas in a fucking water bottle.
Oh, I believe it.
Whatever.
No, the girl was pretty honest with me. She said,
Did you say you're from LA?
Yeah.
I think that's why. I think they want you to be from some small ass city. I'm just saying I just feel that because you said I'm from, Southern California.
I think there was a few inherent problems. One, they said, do you have revenue? Yes. How much? And I let him in on it. I said, that's not generally what we bring on the show. Okay, that's cool. I can lie about it.
You should have.
I know I should have.
That seems to be what business is all about. It's literally like pretending like that. I just saw that documentary about that lady who was doing the blood machines.
Oh, Theranos?
Yeah. Where it's like, what's his face? Light bulb guy. Thomas Edison apparently didn't have a functioning light bulb for 4 years, but everybody was on board with it, and it took him that 4th year he figured it out. It's like it seems like that's a trend in like this world is where you just like say you have it already.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a trend that's going with that. An example is like I think more so now it's there's a lot of promises that can't be kept, but I think you see a lot more of these companies being called out now on what's your path to profitability. Like you can't, Uber's an example. You can't lose $1 billion a quarter, and this is not sustainable after a while.
Well, I mean, how long did Amazon do that though?
Long time. And I think in Uber they're not going away.
Are they losing money? Why would Uber be losing money? Seriously. What do they I mean, they're fucking all those people. They're not making a lot of money.
Yeah, that's why there's California has an assembly bill that's going to potentially kill them and Lyft right now.
What?
I think it's Assembly Bill 5.
Why?
They're going to force... Is an Uber driver a contractor or are they an employee? Because if they're an employee, now they're subjected to benefits.
Insurance.
And that's going to kill Uber's business model. And it's going to add a lot of cost to a company that's currently not making money. So they're going to have to change their whole price structure.
How are they not making money? That's what I don't understand.
They're still in growth mode.
I mean, they have that app. It's like, I mean, I know there's people working on the app. We're using it.
We all use it.
Dude, it's so much easier than a cab. And they seem somewhat, they're more honest because in a cab, if you had drank a little too much, I think I've been in part of not just, it wasn't me, but I mean, they were trying. They thought I was drunk, and they were trying to take the long way home, and I'm like, what are you doing, dick face? Take me home. Like, don't fucking, they can't do that. So it was like, it was really good for even if I had 2 drinks, I'm probably drunk according to the law.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Uber. That's insurance. Literally, Uber and Lyft are insurance for me. You know,
yeah, it's a lot cheaper than a DUI.
I don't have to find parking. Like when I go to Hollywood to go to comedy shows or things like that, it's like, it's so much easier. It's like, I just don't understand how they're losing money.
I think they're still in growth mode.
Yeah.
They went public, obviously, and that their stock is below the IPO level still, and it's short term. Anytime you travel to a big city anywhere, is you start to really see, like you were just talking about, you start to really see the need for Uber and Lyft because their plan is not. It's not even with probably anytime soon. Eventually, especially in cities again, is that people aren't going to own cars anymore because of the parking. You got to pay for parking. It's a car that you're stuck in traffic all day. So do we really need it?
Wear and tear,
just everything involved, dude. and you see it in foreign countries too. Like I was just recently in Montreal, and their traffic is terrible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of places where it's really bad. Even like Houston has a weird freeway setup. There's like a circle, another circle, and then like 7 other a ton of highways coming in, and it just jumbles up when people get off work. Stocks. Are you a guy who does like a mutual fund, or do you have like specific stocks that you're invested in?
Both. I am involved with that, with the mutual fund and a couple other things.
I just did an IRA because for the first time, things have gotten better for me. Like I was broke. I've never had a savings, and things are looking up. But I had to do it too because I used to itemize because I have a lot of tools and a lot of things but I couldn't itemize because of the new tax laws. But I'd rather pay me money than the government, so I did an IRA. Yeah. And so you do that, you max out?
Yeah, I max out because obviously it's like probably the same reason you're looking at it. You look at what's the best tax benefit I'm going to get.
Yeah, you pay yourself money.
Pay yourself money and save yourself from having to pay it over to them, and you get... I mean, there's all upsides to it.
What individual stocks do you recommend to? I mean, again, this is not like if you fuck up because the economy's going to crash. Did you buy Tesla when it came out?
Yeah, I have Tesla. I don't own Facebook.
Fuck, I was paying off credit cards. I screwed up.
I should have got Facebook.
Well, I heard a lot.
I've owned it at one time, but I don't own it currently. I still own Tesla though.
Dude, I missed out on so much because I was broke and I was paying off credit cards. And I said to myself, I'm going to pay off all my debts before because why would I invest in something that it's a gamble, right? It's all a gamble. And
gambling.
And then I still have interest that I'm paying. So I wanted to make sure I had no interest before I started investing. But now I'm afraid to invest now because everything's like really hot.
Yeah, it's tough right now.
So I'm just hoarding money.
Tariffs and everything, and the economy, and there's fears of a recession.
But usually when there's fears, that's usually
the time to buy.
Yeah, so that's weird. So I'm just what I was gonna do. It's been a while. I'm just hoarding money, and I'm just gonna wait for the end of the world again, and then I'm just gonna buy everybody's shit that they sell. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually own some cryptocurrencies. I got in a while ago on them, and they've done pretty well.
I got in at a good moment. God, you got to hear this fucking story. So, first of all, back in the day, I saw it when it was like a couple hundred. When it was $1, I saw when it was $1, and I was like, I'm not paying the same price for this as $1. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Then it went up to fucking $700, and then my buddy was Mango. We'll call him Mango, and he's actually we talked to him on the show one time in this fake thing that we did. He was telling me about building a computer to mine it, and then I looked into it, and he says you need to get this graphics card, and it was $1,800, and I was broke. I was like, I can't do this. I can't justify on a guess. And then it went to $1,800 a coin, and then I was like, it's worth the same as gold. That's it, right? And then it crashed, and by that crash, I mean it went to 300, and then it hovered around $700. And I didn't hear about it for a while. At that time, I'd read a story that some guy, when it got to $1,800, did a paper on it at school, about $28 worth of it, a long time before. And then when he saw, oh my God, Bitcoin surges, he found out he had $1 million. And we had all these instant Bitcoin millionaires, right? So a couple of years ago, when I very first started Blackish, a friend of mine started bringing it up. Oh, Bitcoin's going up again. It's back at 1,800 because it went from 1,700 to 800. I was looking at like Litecoin and Ethereum, and then I was like, yeah, but I saw this before, and it's going to crash again. And then it did because it would dip, and it went down $1,000, and I was like, ha! And then the next day, it went to $4,000 or $3,000.
Then it works.
Then it would dip. And then the next day it went to 4,000. And then I saw the other ones that I was looking at. And I was, again, this was right when I was finishing off paying all my cards. So right when I paid off all my credit cards, everything was pretty high. And this is how it worked. I don't know if the Cash App was doing this yet, but I went on Coinbase. Is that what you used?
Mm-hmm. One of them, yeah.
If you bought it with cash, it took like 2 weeks to show up. But if you bought it with a credit card, then you could have instant control. So I bought some with cash, like I bought some Bitcoin, and then I bought a few like Litecoin with a credit card because I was trying to go to Binance.com, where I went and traded it for Ripple because my buddy said, dude, this is the one that's something's gonna happen. And Ripple was 25 cents. And it was hard. It was like hard to I had to copy and paste, and you have to do it exactly right because if you don't, you just lose it. So I sent it to Binance, which you needed. It's for some people, I'm going to lose them on this. A 2-factor authentication to make it work, and I had Google Authenticator, and you had to type in this code that is like a 30-second code, and there was a lot of things that you had to do, and you had to transfer, and then it wouldn't happen right away, and then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, now you have it. So I had Ripple at 25 cents, and through the course, it went up to $1.35, and I was like, whoa. Like, and I put a couple grand into it, so I was sitting kind of pretty. But all the other money that I had put in cash, because I was buying Bitcoin in intervals as it was going up and down, but it didn't register yet. And it was more than 2 weeks, and it wasn't showing up that I had it yet. And then it crashed.
So it works.
But I had it. I tried to buy it, but I couldn't. It didn't transfer. It didn't say that I had it yet. It was really, it pissed me off because it was more than 2 weeks. So I was like, I felt like there was some shady shit going on.
I think I'm speaking as somebody that owns cryptocurrencies. It's shady.
Yeah.
It's
dude.
BS.
So even when it crashed, though, it came back. And,
it always does.
And Ripple went to 380 at its height. And I'd made a pretty penny with that. And on Binance, you can trade it for USDT, which is another coin, which is basically the dollar, to hold your money in case shit gets crazy. Yeah. And I felt it was going crazy. So guess what I did? I sold it at what I thought was market price. Are you aware between market and limit?
I got taught all this stuff.
So market is an instant sell.
Right.
But I pressed limit, and it was at the height. And I didn't know. I thought it was going to come down and go to $5, you know. But either way, I thought I pressed market because I had been always doing market because I was playing every day. I was doing day trading type shit, and and then the next day I woke up and I had lost like 10 G's of what I made. Like I was still up, but I lost basically 10 G. It went from 380 to like $1.50 in one night. And I was like, what the fuck? And I saw it sitting there just waiting, limit. And I almost had a heart attack. So I said, oh, it'll come back. And it just went down to like 30 cents. And now I'm just leaving it. I'm just going to leave it and forget about it. And I check it every month and I just don't care. And I'm not, but that was me in crypto. Sorry, it was like long-winded, but you hit a nerve, dude.
I didn't know you owned it.
Yeah.
I bought Bitcoin in 2013 off somebody I knew that was a coder.
700 is it 700?
It was less.
300? 400?
It was like 4 something.
400, yeah.
And I think it was like, there might have been 3 something. Anyway, I bought it twice. So he told me, you got to get in on this. This is the next big thing. And at first I'm like, yeah, right. This is just you and your nerdy weirdo stuff trying to come up with things. And he said, no, trust me. Put whatever you can afford that you don't need right now. Just throw it in there.
That's the way it actually.
He's like, I'm not telling you to dump your life savings in there, but he's like, whatever. If you can,
fuck you money.
If you can throw some money into something, he's like, what do you have to lose? Worst case, he said it fluctuates, and he was showing me how it works. I'm like, all right. So I threw some money into Bitcoin and later on Ethereum. And
Ethereum went crazy too.
I still have both of them, and they're worth a pretty good amount of money.
When it crashed, you didn't pull out before it crashed?
Not all of it. I sold some Bitcoin before.
When it got to 20 G's.
I kicked myself in the ass for not selling all of it. I screwed up. I made my mistake.
No, you didn't screw up. We all got fucked. You know why we got fucked, right?
I'm still up.
But you know what happened, right?
What?
The banks allowed the people to short it.
Oh yeah,
that's what
anytime
happened.
you allow speculation, it's going to happen.
It's immediately when the banks, literally, that was the point. Like when it happened, when they allowed that, it was over. Once Bill Wall Street got involved, I'm telling you, that's what happened.
Well, that's why the price of oil is high. It's speculation.
There was another thing. There was big fish involved. So, dude, I went on Coinbase. I had that guy over, the guy who was doing shit with me, or I was on the phone with him, and I was like, "Wait, are you seeing this?" And he goes, "What?" He goes, "What the fuck?" We were on Coinbase, and then they added Bitcoin Cash.
Oh yeah.
I watched it live, and I watched Bitcoin Cash go from like, God, what was it? Something stupid low to $5,000 in like 5 minutes, and it froze everything. It froze Coinbase because I was like, I want to buy it. I want to buy it so I can sell it. I was trying to. It froze Binance, like you couldn't, like it was crazy. So like, wait a minute. Somebody knew this too. At Coinbase, they knew it, and they probably bought a shit ton, and then they just released it without telling anybody. Somebody at Coinbase probably made a fortune, and when it was $5,000, just sold it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of shit.
Well, he started as a friend of a friend. Now we're pretty close friends.
The Bitcoin friend of yours?
No, this is actually somebody else. That dude is he's got millions. The initial guy that told me about it, he's got millions in it. He's got a lot of money. But another friend that got in early, I was at his place, and he does that like you were talking about. He does mining. Yeah. And I knew what it was, but I didn't know in great detail. I couldn't explain it. So I went to his place, and his office actually in Irvine, and he was he's explaining mining to me, and he had his Ethereum open. I looked at him like, you gotta be kidding me. Is that $1.8 million I'm looking at right now? And you would never know this dude has any money.
All right.
And he's like, yeah, that's just Ethereum. He's like, actually, I have more in Bitcoin. I'm like, don't open it. I don't want to see it.
Well, you know what's scary about all that? So, there's warehouses in China that are just computers, and they're bare bones computers that are just doing algorithms that solve for this shit. But it's not as profitable anymore because there's a finite amount of algorithms to solve. Right. And then the electricity bill is really expensive. And then the computers, since they're running all day,
they got to keep them cool.
They burn out. There are viruses that countries are making to hook into your computer that you don't know about. If you go to a weird website, they use your CPU. There's like people who figure that out. So there's like, if your computer's been acting funny, you might be mining for somebody else, you know. And so it's a crazy world, man.
No, but if there's $1 to be made, somebody will figure it out.
And what sucks is so another thing was Bitcoin was done on the Silk Road as currency to buy illegal shit, and the creator of actually, I'm not going to say, I don't know if this is bad for press. So somebody that I know who's a creator of a TV show told me that his son was telling him about it. And he said, and he went on his computer. He has a MacBook Pro. Went to the Silk Road. And they were saying, like, if you want to buy acid, you just tell them what you want. And you buy it with cryptocurrency. And they'll mail something to your house. And you'll get a letter. And the stamps will be the acid. They have these like, say, like, I would like a pet monkey, and I'm going to buy it on it's the black market, but they figure out ways to get it to you. So the one thing that was crazy too was when he went on that website, all of a sudden he said his camera light would turn on and off because people were like looking at him to see what, you know, like these hackers, like, you go on, if you don't have a VPN, or there's like Tor, like there's a billion different things you could do to encrypt your IP address, and you go to these places, they're going to watch you because they can.
There's I admittedly use VPN and things to change my IP all the time. Yeah, and I'm not even that crazy into it like I know other guys are.
Yeah, I'm not going to say my position right now, but I should probably be in a better place. But it's like anybody out there listening, you should have a VPN just because it like helps encrypt your privacy. Basically, helps you. So, but anyways. What else? Oh, you know what, dude? Something we haven't talked about yet. We were talking about all of your athleticism and stuff. And I remember when I met you, you'd let yourself go a little bit, and now you're like all in shape again. But you were always into these triathlons and shit like that. Are you still doing those?
Yeah, this hasn't been too long now. A couple months. June 1st, I completed the Hawaii Ironman.
Fuck. Is that the first time you've done it?
Yeah, that one.
Is it horrible?
Yes. It's the hardest Ironman course in the world.
I used to see it on TV as a kid.
Yeah,
and just
it's
be like,
terrible. So the swim, I actually finished in the top 3% of everybody for the swim. So the swim I'm still good at. So I finished that, and the bike is... it's on the Big Island, so it's a lot of lava rock. It's hot there anyway because it's in June.
Do they check to see if your bike is an electric bike?
No, but I wish I had one electric bike. I could have really used one. But there's videos where people they put like an electric motor in the frame.
Yeah.
And
so that's illegal, right?
Yeah, you can't do that. No.
How do they? Oh, if you do something good, I guess they'll check your shit, right?
Yeah, if you're all of a sudden beating some crazy time, but they use some infrared system when you ride by, and they can see if there's a motor in there. It's like something like that. Like I saw photos of it where they're catching people.
Oh fuck! What about are you allowed to wear flippers when you're doing the swim?
No.
Oh.
Can't even wear out that one. You can't even wear a wetsuit because the water's too warm.
Did you shave your whole body?
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It works for swimming when you're coming down to hundredths of a second, but that doesn't work for that.
So you just went all caveman out there?
Yeah, I mean, I was not.
I'm a hairy guy. I'm Italian.
Yeah, so am I. I'm hairy too, but I wasn't hairy for that. As hairy as I normally am for that.
So how many triathlons do you do a year?
Probably on average, I do more than probably every few months. So I think the most I did was like 8.
Holy shit!
Some of them aren't as long as others, obviously. And then more than that, I'll do ocean swims. I'll do like a half marathon run. I'll do different stuff.
So you still So if you do you train every day?
I try to.
Do you have time? Mm-hmm. How do you have time? Do you have a personal life?
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you have a personal life and just do that? Because like I'm having a trouble with mine because I work in film, and just that one stupid job takes up almost all my time.
No, it's difficult. You just gotta.
Stupid
I guess
job.
it's just it's just prioritizing. Like I said, I don't scroll on social media. I post probably more. I think that's a misconception. It's like, oh, you're on social media a lot 'cause you post a lot. Like, I don't scroll though.
You should let me direct your next commercial. Yeah, well, you don't have to, but
it's an idea.
I got to pull up this gravity thing that I did, but yeah, no, because like I'm a big director now. I don't know if you knew that. No, I'm not, but I mean, I'm sort of.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
well, it's like me and the Ironman. When I was gonna fully do that, I just had on the personal life. Yeah, I have a personal life, but I think you just got to prioritize. Like, I don't watch TV. I love sports, but I don't watch a whole lot of them. Like, I limited that.
Are you still dating that lady that I saw at the? Nah, what happened with her?
I don't know.
She was cute. She seemed cool.
Shit happens.
No love life right now.
No, not much of one. You can. There's time for it, and I don't train for like 3-4 hours a day. I mean, a couple hours a day is good.
I think that's what I need though to lose weight because I'm fucking really out of shape. I'm in the worst shape of my life.
So
we're listening. Here's a kind of a rough cut. Sorry, of the video I directed. Oh, there's a little Uber sign because they got like permission to use it.
Cool.
This is kind of raw still though.
Oh, the music video? Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually driving the car right there, directing them. So, my opinion right now is...
Local band?
Yeah, they're over Orange County, but I mean, now they're trying to gravitate to Hollywood.
Okay.
What was I going to say? So,
yeah, so I did that training. I lost a tremendous amount of weight the last... it's been like a year and a half.
Dude, I didn't see you for a while. The last time I saw you, you were like,
I was over 300.
Not in shape.
You were over 300.
Bobby World. And then all of a sudden, was it at the game I saw you? And I was like, what the shit? I was like, you lost some weight. So...
Yeah, a little bit. Well, back then I was more into... But I was lifting heavy. That was the funny part. I was still doing like ocean swim events, did a couple running events now and then. I was still athletic enough to do things.
What do you think was your downfall? Like, what made you gain weight?
Sleep.
Whoa! Are you serious? Do you have sleep apnea, or did you? Do you have the machine?
Not anymore. I have it. I don't need it anymore.
See, I have the machine. It changed my life, but I think I still eat like shit. I still sneak a soda here and there, and a lot of sugar. Sugar's the devil to me.
So when I actually started when I did the Hawaii Ironman, I think it was about a year prior that I just cracked down on my sleep, and I just said enough is enough. I was just done with it. I was tired of it.
What were you getting a night before?
4.
And this is with sleep apnea with the machine? You're getting 4.
I get about 4. Now I get 6.5. I try to, at least, and I'm pretty good about it.
I'm really bad at going to bed.
Same here. I don't fall asleep easy.
I used to fall asleep easy, but the bottom line is I love staying up, and I love being free because I work so much. It's like, it's not like I hate my job. I love my job, but I love being free more than I love my job. I usually get 5.5, not by choice, by fucking non-discipline. But I've been getting 7 or 8 or 9 on my break, and I've been going to bed early, just earlier, you know. So sleep helped you lose weight.
Yeah.
Did you chill out on sugar or anything at all? Did you ever drink sodas and shit?
Oh, I still do.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
So when I just, like I said, I got tired of it. I'm like, I got to do something. I like being strong. That's the only thing I missed from that size was I was a lot stronger. Like, I can't even bench, squat, or anything. I can't do any of those lifts even close to the weight I used to lift. I'm not even going to try anymore. It's not worth it. Like, I always joke, I didn't get any more chicks because I was strong than now. I probably get a lot more now. But I just came to the conclusion. So I went to the doctor and said, I just can't continue like this. He said, all right, let's put you through and I've done the overnight sleep test before.
Yeah.
So I did it again.
It's weird, right? Dude, I went in, I was at 2 hours of sleep because of some crazy job. 2 hours. And I was exhausted. And at that point, I could fall asleep in 5 seconds because I had sleep apnea. But I couldn't. It was hard falling asleep. Did they have they had the mask on?
The mask, the monitors, they had everything on me.
When they
initially,
there was no mask.
There was no mask because they want to get your true readings. And I remember the very first time I tested, I think he woke me up with like 45 minutes. And he's like, I got enough data on you. You're bad. He gave me the option. He's like, you can go home. Because I got enough to submit to the insurance company that you got severe sleep apnea.
Well, dude, he didn't do that to me. He made me put the mask on, and I almost didn't get it. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, he said that's the difference. He said I could. I don't know. I think probably he wanted to go home.
Lucky guy. How many interruptions an hour did you have? Do you know?
I don't remember the number, but it was insane.
You know what mine is? 97.
Oh, you know yours?
Oh, I know you. Of course.
Mine's probably up around there.
97. So the dude woke me up, and it took a while because I just couldn't fall asleep. They put this shit on my face, and he made it so tight, like it was pressing on my jaw, and it hurt really bad. Now, here's what's fucked up. So in the mask, I guess there's a microphone, and the way it was on my face, my nose was whistling, and I could hear it outside the door. And I heard, I was like trying to move the mask around, and I was like, shut the fuck up, you dumb nose, what are you doing? And I just couldn't go because I just kept hearing that. And then finally he woke me up, and he goes, you're lucky, we got the information we need, barely. And he was like, he goes, how do you feel? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I feel like you didn't get it that night. But when you had the first night you wore your mask, that should change your life, right?
Oh, no. So he woke me up, and he said, I got enough data on you. You're severe. You're very severe. Yeah. That you're probably going to get it regardless. Your insurance company's going to have to approve it. I'm like, all right. He gave me the option. He's like, do you want to... I think he said, too, that, hey, I got to be here all night anyways. Like, I'm working on some stuff, and I can hook you up to the mask and keep you under with the mask on because you've never felt it. So, yeah, you know what? Why not? I'm already here. I don't want all this. I got this crap hooked up. It's already late. Like, I might as well sleep here. Bed was actually pretty comfortable.
You're lucky he let you sleep there. He was like, get the fuck out.
Oh, no. So he hooked me up to the mask, and I think he had to wake me up again at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Geez. I felt so much better with just that one night with that mask on.
Yeah. I had to go to work the next day. I had to go to work, but I was like, they were like, whoa, like, You look like a different guy, even just on an hour and a half with that machine on.
Yeah, it's pretty helpful. So yeah.
So you don't snore now?
From what I was told, no.
Now you don't snore.
I don't snore.
Because I always snored where I was like, Jen, she got used to it. So when I had the mask on, when I was falling asleep without the mask, I snore because I'm still fucking big. She'd go, put your damn mask on. And now it's like, whoosh, instead of like that.
It's probably therapeutic machine for her.
It is. And now I can't sleep without it because, again, I need to lose weight. But like where I would sleep through it, I now fall asleep and I wake myself up with snoring. I cannot take a nap or sleep without that machine without waking myself up because of I think it's a football player thing too. Like my windpipe just closes. It's my neck. I have a big stupid neck, 19 and a half inches.
Yeah, the same problem. Yeah, neck size.
Yeah.
So that was, that's what they told me is like your neck size doesn't help. He said sometimes guys come in, bigger guys, and they said they don't have it. And they're fine, but a lot of it's your neck size. And they said the same side we have. He was an Asian guy that was testing me. He said, I have guys that look like me, little tiny Asian men that come in here.
Yeah.
And he said they're skinny, and you look at them like, nah, this guy doesn't have it. Why are we wasting our time? They test them, and they're severe.
Some of it's deviated septum.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stupid. What is this dumb body? This stupid evolution. Do you believe in evolution?
Yeah.
What happened there?
I don't know.
What is that for? I don't know. Whatever fucking thing that I evolved from that had that stupid trait. Because I guess I'm supposed to. If I was a caveman, I think I would have been dead by now because of it. I would have been suffocated in my sleep. I wonder if cavemen had it. They were probably too thin.
I'm sure. Well, as a doctor told me.
Do monkeys have it?
Probably. I'm sure. I think dogs get it.
I had dogs that definitely have some sort of sleep apnea. Do you have a dog?
Did, yeah. He just passed away recently.
Yeah, we had to put our Foxy. She's a Pomeranian. We had to put her down. It's horrible. That's
we had
absolutely
to put.
horrible.
Well, you met him, Georgie, the Saint Bernard.
Anyways, well, either way, let's see if there's a couple things in there.
I was going to say with the weight loss, I went and saw the doctor. Like, I got to stop this, and he said, "I'll be straightforward honest." I said, I don't necessarily. I eat too much, at one sitting, but I said I don't feel I necessarily eat bad all the time, and I'm still exercising. I was training for a race actually at the time, another smaller triathlon. I said I'm gaining weight while I'm training. So the doctor's response was, your diet and exercise can be 100% on point, which you're training for a race, it sounds like it is. But if you're not getting proper sleep, that exercise is because of the type of exercise you're doing with triathlon training, you're putting a lot of excess stress on your body. He said you're going to gain weight because you're going to be so inflamed and messed up.
You don't work out at the office?
No.
You don't do little push-ups? I don't know.
Sometimes.
Actually,
I do sometimes. I'll go sit against the wall in the squat position. But
so what's your daily workout routine?
It varies. I try to swim so of the 3 events that are in triathlons, running's my worst by far.
I suck at running.
I try to run a 5K a day, which if you get down, you can do it under 40 minutes. Not too hard. So I try to do those in the mornings now it helps me get up, and I don't necessarily always run it fast, just depends how I feel. But
when did you start meditating? Because I saw some pictures of you meditating.
About a year or two. It's pretty helpful.
It is. How often do you do it?
Not often enough, but I try to do it daily. There's just some little changes I made. I take cold showers now.
Cold showers. Well, of course, it's 500 degrees outside. Of course.
Well, even in the winter when it's freezing cold, No. It's shocking how I thought it was stupid too, and I was always a hot shower person because my back hurts.
Yeah.
But those cold showers help.
Do a little. Well, it's probably a little both. If you probably start off with hot on your back and then switch it off. So I was my grandpa used to teach stuff, meditating and things like that. Do you focus on your breath?
Yeah,
that's one thing have you always had a loud mind or a loud?
Oh yeah, that's the toughest part. I remember when I first started going to meditation, I talked to a teacher about it. Like, I can't. This just does nothing for me. I'm just sitting here just thinking about random stupid things. Did
you ever hear the monk? The monk said, this Shaolin monk was saying that all that noise, the chatter, is the monkey in us. The primitive side of our brain, the chatter. He's always got something dumb to say, and just always dumb shit to think about. And he says, the Shaolin monk gentleman was saying, all you should just do is focus on your breathing, because that gives the monkey something to focus on. It's dumb enough for it to focus on, but then once he's gone and he's occupied, then you can really, it's all about, my grandpa wrote a book called Inner Silence. It's really, really cool book about, because he says in the very beginning of the book, he says, hey, you're from the city, right? He goes, and then you need to get away sometimes. So you decide to go up to a cabin, and you're like, it's good, finally, I can get some peace and quiet. And then you're alone, and it's louder than it was before. And because it's loud in here. It's not just loud out there. So the book tells you how to chill that out. Have you ever floated?
Yeah. I've done the sensory deprivation tanks.
Yeah. Dude, I always wanted to do that when I was a kid, when I saw it on the Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
But then I was like, I found out it was a real thing, and that it was like something that was not that hard to do, because I thought it was only in like a weird military base or something. But there's one in the West Side. I heard it on Joe Rogan, and I was so happy, because they were like, he would like say it, and you should go to this place, and they weren't even the sponsor. And he just loves that place in Pasadena. Just Float. You ever been there?
No, the place I go is in Orange County. It's called Float Easy.
Float Easy. Yeah, the Just Float place has 10 rooms. One of them's like a bigger room, but I always just get whatever's available. And whenever I have a day off, like I got it for my birthday, because my girl heard me. Jen said, "Oh, like I got this because I heard you talking about it," and I was like, "Oh," and I loved it. Do you like that?
Yeah, I know some people struggle because they said near the end it's a little hard to breathe when you've been in that pod for too long. That's just
Did you have a problem with that?
No, again, playing water polo and being accustomed to water and being scuba diving in the dark, it doesn't feel it though.
You don't even feel it, because it's like, so it's your body temperature. So it's like I didn't even feel the water. It's supposed to be like you don't notice it. The only thing you notice is if you got scratches.
I never had that.
The scratches?
I never went in there with scratches where you have to put the petroleum jelly on it.
I always get fucked up at work because I bang into things with my legs, and I always get these things, and so I put it on because I was like, holy shit, like it does for a minute at least, but it's a really great thing, and I recommended it to somebody who they had like some panic attack in there, because they like, do you want another beer?
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, they had a panic attack because they don't like enclosed spaces, but I was like, but you don't even know you're in an enclosed. It doesn't feel that closed, you know? So I loved it. I recommend it, but, you know, people are going to, again, if you have some panic attack, don't take me to court, because if you're afraid of small spaces, and if you can't shut your mind off, I mean, you learned how to do it. You got to breathe and just breathe. When I was in it, I felt like at one point, like I was like floating through space. It was really cool. Did you get any of that? Did you get hallucinations at all?
No, not hallucinations. Do
you fall asleep in there?
I've almost fallen asleep, but it's I notice I do better when I go there at night, and the one I go to is open till midnight. So there's a couple times I've been there pretty late. It's I just notice if I go there first thing in the morning, I guess I'm more rested, so I don't clear my mind quite as easy. So I do it at night, and works out a lot better.
That's a good idea. I want to go in, and so they have a plan. Like my girl got me 5. And so it's I don't know if they do it like 60 a float or whatever if you do a plan or something, but you can do 2 for one session, but you get an extra 45 minutes or a half hour, because there's usually a cleaning period for between people, and if you don't have to do that, you can just add it to your time. I kind of wanted to do like a 3-hour or like a 4-hour one. Because I really want to see because the mind can't do that. It can't just sit there without stimulation. No. So I want to see it create some stimulation, you know? Because they said, too, because somebody was saying, "Oh, dude, you should get high and do it." I was like, and then they're like, "You don't want to be high, because then that's your stimulation."
Yeah.
You want to be...
body's in different mindset.
You want to be just you, and like nothing, no other external stimulation. I really want to try to see what my mind can do on its own. You know?
I've heard that before, like about going there. You just got to go in there with, like, you can't even use. You're not supposed to use caffeine before you go in there. Like, you're not even really supposed to eat anything. You're supposed to go and just clear your mind.
Exactly. And so you never saw any weird colors or anything?
No. Well, I always keep the pod black.
Sure.
I always keep it pitch black.
But I saw in the black, like, my eyes would do this weird play with, like, and I'm not saying it was something like extreme. It was like I would see these weird glow shapes that would appear, and I don't know if it was from like if I was staring at the light, because there's some lights in before, but I don't know if it's like there's some weird shit that happens when you're in there. Maybe it doesn't happen to everybody, but it happened to me a little bit. But I want to see how intense it can get.
Yeah, I'm I was looking at this meditation retreat. It's a silent meditation retreat. There's like 10-day ones. I'm like, I don't think I'll last. I won't last, at least right now, is 10 days. But I do like a 2-3 day. I think that'd be cool.
Have you done a retreat like that before?
Overnight. I've never done anything longer than that.
Where's it at?
There was one that was in Santa Barbara area that I got recommended to me. There's a couple down in the San Diego area as well. And
so you go there and you don't talk, huh?
There's other people there and you still don't talk.
Oh, shit.
It sucks because you're even, if you're single at the time, you're looking around like, man, some of these women are pretty good looking. Damn, I can't talk.
Can you use sign language?
Yeah, I guess you can get your point across if you have to.
But I think there's a healthiness mentally to going to a place where you can't blabber. It's like, it's kind of nice that there's no pressure to have some shit to say. Sometimes,
Yeah, there's other retreats that I actually got invited to one last weekend. I couldn't go, but it's one of those like yoga meditation type retreats, but they actually talk and they try to, some of the girls I know that were involved were telling me, oh yeah, by the time you're going to cry about 20 times when we start letting things out. Like, I just don't want to go to one of those. I don't want to listen to that, and I don't want to let stuff out. And not to say it's bad. I think it works. Some people are really into it and they really get a lot out of it. Actually, at the last meditation I did on Tuesday night, this girl was talking about some internal struggles that she's going through right now, and how the class, she didn't go into detail, but how the class is helping her. I'm like, that's cool. But sometimes I honestly started meditation, so I go on Tuesday nights because I dive Wednesday mornings.
There's like a place where you go specifically with other people then?
Yeah, it's at the gym, and the one I go to on Tuesday nights is in Huntington Beach, but it initially started because I dive Wednesday mornings early, and I wanted to calm down, just get myself calm and conserve air and all that, and it's helped immensely.
That's good, man. Well, that's awesome. Oh, fucking consciousness, that's a fucking weird thing. It's like, or at least, like, I feel like you focus a lot more on it, like when you're meditating, and like just being aware. I think a lot of people are, if you go to the I've been painting my house. Tom walked in. I had to tell him, like, hey, you're going to have to keep an open mind because I've been painting my house. So everything was in plastic. And I think when you walked in, the first thing I said, if Hugh Lewis comes on, that's when you should be worried because there's plastic all. I was like, hey, Paul, you go to that parking lot at Home Depot and you realize how unaware just everybody is in this world. Just the general public. They're in this weird bubble. They got blinders on. Nobody even thinks outside of their little world that they're in, that there's other shit going on. And a lot of times I think when you sit and meditate, you become a little bit more aware about everything around you.
Yeah, I think when you're just stuck with yourself, you're kind of forced to.
Yeah. Well, do you get along with yourself, Tom?
I do. Pretty well. I think it's a struggle sometimes. I think we all struggle with that. Because I think I also sit there in those meditations and start saying, like, why am I not better at this? Why am I not doing that? I think you start kind of going through some of that stuff. Like, why don't I do this more often?
Time slows down a little bit because you're not doing a bunch of shit. So, and it gives you more time, in my opinion, to think about the stuff you should do. How often? I don't know if people in smaller towns need to meditate as much.
I think big, busy metropolitan areas, it's quite beneficial.
Yeah, because you're always doing things and time just flies by. It's like you need to slow down. Sometimes. Do you have a dream car that you'd want to buy someday?
I said if it's actually because of the new business, not the clean energy
a diesel
one. No, I said I would buy.
The new business you told me about.
I said I would buy a Tesla Roadster. That's not out yet. I kind of just. I'm not overly flashy. I don't think so with some of that stuff, but I don't know. I think it's good to set a goal with something of material, and that was mine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need anything too crazy. I don't need some crazy mega yacht like some people dream of. Like, I don't know. I'd be happier with a sailboat. But
boats. My buddy told me, but boat stands for bust out another 1,000. It's because
every day.
It's always something that goes wrong. You talked to me about the last thing. I guess to close this out. You were telling me that you have a new business. Are you comfortable talking about it on here?
Yeah.
Because I know you said some of it's going to go over my head, and I'm fine with that.
It goes over mine too.
Yeah. So you told me you were at a triathlon training, and you somebody made a joke.
I did. So the story goes, when I was training for the Hawaii Ironman.
Yeah.
As we all know, workout clothes you can only wear once.
Well,
most of us. I can't wear them twice. That's kind of nasty.
You're talking about for a triathlon.
Or just anything.
Really?
I can't wear them more than once. I sweat. So I was training
You're
for a
a diva.
Well, I was training outside on running and biking. I was training for hours doing each one. I mean, at that stage, I was riding at least 40 to 50 miles on the bike. I was swimming 2.5 and running probably about almost 10 some days.
Okay.
So I was pretty hardcore. I was pretty hardcore at that time. And during that same era, I was just piling up clothes in the corner of my room. I was just throwing them in the corner every day. I'd take my shorts off and socks and shirt and just throw them in the corner. So a particular Sunday came around, and I'm obviously intensifying the training. I think generally on Sundays, I went down to Newport Back Bay, and I would do all three because you got the back bay, then you got the loop, so you can run and bike on it. So I was doing a ton of training, and I was like struggling to get clothes now. And it was a Sunday. I had to go spend hours doing this, and I jokingly said, why can't I just pick up my phone with an app and have somebody come get this and just do it? Why can't I do that? And it was a total joke because I was just being lazy. So that particular day, I actually got on my bike I was riding on the Santa Ana River Trail. So it was just a straight shot. You don't have to worry about too many turns. You don't have to worry about red lights or anything. And I'm just riding along, and this thought just kept tumbling through my mind. Like
tumbling,
literally. Tumbling.
Like laundry.
It was tumbling through my head like, why doesn't that exist? Why doesn't it exist? Why can't I go on an app right now and just have somebody come get it and bring it to me later? So I started researching it. There's companies out there that do it. There's some of them are local, like dry cleaners will do it.
Yeah. But they're expensive, dude. It's expensive.
They're very expensive.
There's got to be a way to lower that.
So it was very expensive. There was a company that does an app, but they also, I was reading reviews on it, and it takes them like 4 and 5 days to do it, and they only deliver back to your house. They only pick up between a certain hour, and they only deliver between like 8 and 10 p.m., which not everybody's home at that time, or maybe you just don't want it back at that hour. So they only do that. Then again, so I actually had a friend that lived up. They're not here. You can't do it in LA yet. I don't think so. They're in San Francisco. Then they tried to have pickup points, and they. Anyway, I had a friend try it, and he said, "Oh, it was terrible. Like just whatever, and it was expensive." I said, "I'll cover the cost. Just do it, and I'll just pay you back." Then I was actually in San Francisco for a few days, and I tried it, and I even gave them a minimal amount of clothes because I was only up there a few days. I couldn't wait 4 and 5 days, and they barely got it back to me on time. So
I wonder how busy they are. You know what I'm saying?
Not very.
Because it's like, I mean, you could throw. I mean, do you have to separate your own clothes?
No. So what happened?
That's probably what takes a while, you know.
So what happened was, just they essentially are not. I knew, again, just looking outside the box, just maybe how my mind works. They're nothing more than digitizing dry cleaners. They're just putting basically a shitty, unnecessary added level of whatever in there. They're basically a middleman for things that already exist. So they're not really innovative. You're not doing anything special at that point. So having a trucking logistics background, came to that conclusion that the only way you're going to make money with this is you got to implement. Anyone in distribution logistics knows what a hub and spoke system is. So a lot of industries use it. So you implement one of those into where you can have a quick turnaround. You also piggyback off, which works in Southern California. There's a massive rideshare driver infrastructure already in place. So you use them because it's laundry opposed to food. You don't have to, it's not real time. Like if I go on Uber Eats and I order something and they pick it up from, I don't know, McDonald's, I mean, they got to get it to you right away. Laundry, you don't have that. You got a pretty big window. So guys can actually work and do other things while they have it. And they just have to get it back within a certain window. So provides them the opportunity to make extra money. That's what the feedback I got for the drivers doing it now.
So how far along are you with starting your new venture?
We're already picking up doing laundry. I mean, it's closed off. I don't have the app. There's a prototype app. It's not it works. It's not sexy, if you want to call it, quite yet, but it does enough to get the job done.
So like you're just testing it out right now.
Yeah, so we're only in Orange County.
What's your turnaround?
Under 24 hours.
That's pretty cool. So where's the facility where does it happen at?
It's in Anaheim right now. So we're servicing Anaheim, Hills, some parts of Anaheim, and parts of Irvine.
Who made the app?
I did in part, me and a friend.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I'm not good at user interface stuff, but he is. So I did back end, he did front end.
Well, there you go. So let's see. USC, water polo. Harvard, while you were working. A little bit of military.
A little bit.
You were the trucking business, and then you got into the Undersea Energy.
Yeah.
That's his company. From there, that's been your main focus, and then you're still sneakily dabbling in any other little thing you can get your damn paws on, as long as they're like you had the Bitcoin, and now you got now you have the Uber laundry. But we don't want to call it that. What do we have a name for it yet?
Wash day.
Wash day, but the app is not accessible right now yet.
No, it's invite only. It's not out on any of the stores. It's strictly invite only.
How many customers ish are you getting? Like,
there's 200 customers now. I haven't serviced all 200. I've had them sign up, but there are also people I know and people they know. It's actually interesting. So the top people, I was just polling people I knew, like, would you use this? Some guys are like, no. I'm like, yeah, you're also cheap, so I'm not surprised. And you're just never going to get everybody. But
so where how will they hear about this when it actually rolls out?
Yeah, you're going to have to market it. There's some, and that's why I haven't rolled it out anything large yet, because there's some marketing, some distribution of the bags and everything to be involved. So there's still a lot of work to be done.
There's always work to be done. It never ends. Is your Instagram Undersea Energy? Yeah. And then maybe on that somehow you could start, maybe so people can look up your business on Undersea Energy, and it's undersea.energy is your website. Maybe you could have a sneaky advertisement on your website.
Yeah, we'll sneak it in there.
But keep an eye out for Wash Day, the app,
because it used to be a thing.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that it'll be worth it. Because, dude, I hate laundry.
We all do.
Jen hates. Everybody hates laundry. It's the worst thing in the world. It's such a huge waste of time.
Well, I can tell you the top people when I polled, who said they would use it, married couples that both of them work, and especially if they have kids.
Oh, kids! Yeah, they are the laundry creators. They are the biggest laundry creators. Well, it was good having you on the White Wolf's Den. That's the name of my show. Check out whitewolfsden.com. That's WITEWOLF.com. White Wolf without the H. You can also check us out on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Instagram.